When we imagine the first humans, we often picture cavemen from popular movies, wrapped in furs and brandishing heavy wooden clubs. But evolutionary science paints a far more nuanced picture. To understand what the first humans actually looked like, we first have to ask who qualifies as human. In biology, this means looking at the genus Homo, which appeared in Africa over 2 million years ago. These early ancestors were a fascinating blend of ape-like and modern traits. One of the earliest species in our lineage was Homo habilis, a name meaning handyman, because they were among the first to create stone tools. If you met a Homo habilis, you would notice they were significantly shorter than modern humans, averaging around 4 feet tall. Their faces retained a flat, broad nose and a prominent jaw that projected forward. However, their brain cases were noticeably larger than those of the Australopithecines who came before them. As time progressed, a new species emerged called Homo erectus, around 1.8 million years ago. This group looked remarkably more like us. They developed longer legs and shorter arms, adapting completely to walking and running upright on the African savanna. This shift meant they lost the adaptations for climbing trees. They also began losing their thick coat of body hair, allowing them to sweat effectively and stay cool under the hot sun. If you looked closely at the face of Homo erectus, you would see key differences from a modern human face. They possessed a very thick, prominent brow ridge running across their forehead, acting almost like a sun visor. They lacked a defined, pointy chin, which is a feature unique only to modern Homo sapiens. Their skulls were low and elongated to accommodate a growing brain that was still smaller than ours today. The loss of thick body hair triggered another major physical change: skin pigmentation. Exposure to intense equatorial ultraviolet radiation meant early humans likely developed dark skin rich in melanin to protect against cellular damage. This skin tone remained common for hundreds of thousands of years as early human species stayed within the African continent. Light skin colors only developed much later as populations migrated to northern regions with less sunlight. Around 300,000 years ago, the first anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, finally appeared. Fossil evidence discovered in places like Morocco shows that these early members of our species looked very similar to us, but with slight variations. Their faces were largely identical to ours today, featuring small brow ridges and distinct chins, though their skulls were still slightly more elongated at the back compared to our rounder skulls. One major difference between early Homo sapiens and modern people was their physical build. Because their survival depended entirely on hunting, gathering, and walking long distances every day, they were incredibly robust and muscular. Their bones were thicker, and their joints were larger, indicating a lifestyle that demanded intense physical exertion. They did not have the sedentary body shapes frequently seen in our modern society today. Ultimately, looking at the first humans is like looking into a living mirror that slowly shifts over millions of years. From the short, ape-like proportions of Homo habilis to the tall, athletic, and recognizable forms of early Homo sapiens, our ancestors adapted perfectly to their environments. Behind the heavy brow ridges and broad faces was an emerging intelligence and shared humanity that eventually built the modern world we live in today.